Exactly.
But the icing and all in my mouth. Let's see.
Bend over.
Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. My name is Jasper Dent. I'm the event coordinator here at McNally Robinson Booksellers, Saskatoon. This event is being held on Treaty 6 territory. This is the land of the Cree, Dene, Saulteaux, Dakota, Nakota, and Lakota, and homeland of the Métis Nation. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the Saskatoon launch of Crave, the Cookbook, by authors and Crave co-founders Jodi Willoughby and Carolyne McIntyre Jackson. This book is published by Touchwood Editions, so I'd like to thank them for publishing the book, and thank you to Jodi and Carolyne for joining us tonight. Just to note that this event is being live streamed, so there's a web camera just up to your right here, if you could be mindful of it. We will not be filming the audience. However, it might pick up your phone if it rings during the event, so that would be a great time to silence or turn it off. We've all made that mistake. If you'd like to buy copies of the cookbook, we have some up here on the signing table and also some on the front desk by where you walked in. Also on the desk by where you walked in is a prize draw box. We're going to be having a prize giveaway at the end, just a little goodie bag. So if you haven't written your name down, now would be a great time to do that. And all right, so I'm assuming everyone here is familiar with Crave, the bakery, but I would love to see a show of hands of who's either been there or had their baked goods at events or familiar. Yeah, okay, everyone. So you may not be as familiar with the co-founders, Jodi and Carolyne. So they're sisters, and they both live in Calgary now, but I believe did you grow up around in the Calgary area in Saskatoon? Yeah. Excellent. So Prairies feels the same. Yeah, and I'm going to just let them introduce themselves, the book, talk a bit about how this book came to be, your journey, and then we will have an audience Q&A portion, at which point I'll bring this microphone into the audience so that everyone can hear what's being asked and can participate. All right, so everyone please give Jodi and Carolyne a very warm welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for the introduction, Jasper. That was really kind. Thank you all for coming this evening. So thanks for coming out and wanting to listen to us speak. So I'm Carolyne. This is Jodi, the Crave co-founders. We'll just give you just a little bit of history, how we grew up and kind of where we started. So we grew up on a farm just outside of High River, Alberta. I love to be in the kitchen baking cookies.
I did not.
Jodi did not. She was outside on her horse, moving cattle with our father and our other sister, Antoinette. And yeah, we both went away to university. I have a degree in food business management with a food processing background. So when I came out of university, I wanted to be the new craft kitchen lady.
And then I went to the University of Calgary and came out with a community rehabilitation. So I have the people part of Crave and Carolyne has the product part of Crave.
So, you know, I used to always bring cookies wherever I would go. And one night my cousin was like, oh, you know, you should really open a bakery. And I was like, yeah, I've had $1 million. I would just bake for everybody and make them happy. And it just kind of resonated with me and it stayed with me for a little while. I was working for Safeway at the time in their like production facilities. And I just was like, like maybe it wouldn't take $1 million. And so I started to do the research. We would have started things back in 2003. So farmers markets, even back then, were not common. So in the Calgary area, there was one farmers market. It's called Millerville, the Millerville Farmers Market. And we were denied, twice for applying to get into their market. And so even back then, even like a community kitchen or communal kitchen was really, really hard to.
No food trucks.
And definitely no food trucks. We once got asked, why don't you start with a food truck? Like, we started before that. Yeah. So it's an interesting thing. So then really like our only option was to actually open a store, like an actual retail front. And so we found the store in Kensington and then just kind of started. And I asked Jodi if she wanted to start a bakery with me and she said yes. And so then we started the bakery. And
yeah, so that was in September of 2004. We opened the doors in Kensington and, you know, people always ask us, what was one of your mistakes? Well, we had all of our failure plans. Like we needed to make this much money every day. We had to produce this many cupcakes in order for us to justify staying open. And we never had a success plan. So, you know, Calgary really embraced us. And, you know, we love hearing stories of when we first opened and people were like, I used to stand in line and you were at our wedding. And when Carolyne, when we started, it was literally just Carolyne and I doing the baking. We have no, actual commercial baking education or experience. All of our baking happened in like our country kitchens in our grandmother's kitchen. And then Carolyne literally taught me how to bake in September 2004. So then we went on, we opened up a little shop on 17th Avenue. We operated that location for 5 years, but just didn't have that same baking and real hustle and bustle because it had no bakery in the background. And so then, or in the back, all of our stores have bakeries in the back where they produce everything day out. So closed that after 5 years, but in the meantime, we opened up Willow Park. Then we opened up another location in Southwest Calgary, Aspen Landing, Northwest Calgary, Crowfoot. Then we went to Edmonton, and then we came to Saskatoon, which we love. And we are very excited to announce that in exactly 3 weeks' time, we'll be opening up Kelowna. So yeah, it's very exciting. Our first store in 15 years, 12 years.
Purposeful pause. For
Yes, we
12
took
years.
a purposeful pause because Carolyne and I, between the two of us, have 3 boys. And it was funny when Carolyne and I were telling, like our mom were like, yeah, we're gonna open up another bakery. And my mom's like, aren't you girls too old for this? And we're like, what are you talking about? Like, we have gone through the motions. We've raised our children. We're in these inactive parenting years. We've got another one in us. So, and like Carolyne always says, like Martha Stewart, like, how old was she when
She started when she was 50. That's like the thing. Like she
Exactly.
started her own company when she was 50.
Yeah.
So
We're just getting
we're
started.
embracing.
Carolyne just turned 50.
Yeah, I just turned 50.
Yeah.
So we're embracing the Martha Stewart.
Yeah, inner Martha Stewart.
Yeah, our inner Martha Stewart. So, you know, there's obviously been lots of highs and lows over the years, but ultimately we love to bake. We still do it. We actually did an interview for a lady and she's like, I cannot believe it's been 20 years. Like she was shocked and, you know, big fan. She'd never written an article. She's like, I cannot believe I've never written about you gals. So I think we've always kind of been a little bit more behind the scenes and not really sort of front and center. I think lots of people thought the business was franchised. It is not. And I think that's another kind of, was kind of another one of our things was that we wanted to own everything. And so we never did franchise it. And I remember being at an event a few years ago and someone said to me, oh, you only have 6 locations. I thought you'd have way more by now. And like, you know, I'm like in tears and I was like, why in this moment does this feel so awful? And it was just because I think there was that expectation, like it was really good and it was really successful. And so I think ultimately that's truly what led us to really want to get our recipes out there. We toiled with the idea for years and we're always like, well, if we do make a cookbook, then, you know, nobody will want to come and buy our cupcakes. And then, you know, then we started this like CPG line, you know, our bake at home line, which you can buy at grocery stores. We are finally getting into Saskatchewan here, sort of in the next couple of months. But if you've seen in our stores, we've actually turned our cake mix and our cookie dough and our buttercream into products you can buy at the grocery stores. So in the next couple of months, you should start seeing them in the Safeway Sobeys here, which is super exciting. But again, that fear. And so then someone was just like, explain that, you know, it's a consumer life cycle. And so, you know, people might want to read the cookbook and, you know, understand the history of it. And they might want to bake a couple things out of it, but they still want to do it. But I think ultimately, you know, when people say why, you know, it's just because we really want everybody everywhere to have great cake. And I think we all know that there's a lot of not great cake out there. And so whether you're in, you know, deep rural Saskatchewan or in Quebec somewhere, you know, if you have the Crave Cookbook, you can actually just bake a really beautiful cake and make it taste delicious for whatever event you're having. And so we were at a thing down in High River the other day, and this gal had bought the cake mix, made the buttercream, and she made this beautiful cake. Like it was just stunning. She showed me the picture and I was like, that's such a great story of like how everything can sort of intertwine. So,
and I think for us, it's always been about sharing too, right? So all of the recipes in this cookbook are family recipes. So every time a recipe or anything that we have shared in our Crave bakeries, it always starts with a family recipe. Whether it's Lucy, our manager, who's sitting right over there, made our churro cupcake one year for Craving of the Month. It always starts with home recipes. And so for us, recipes are about sharing. And, we grew up with a family of bakers. And when we told our aunts that we were making this recipe book, our mom, one of the favorite things on the front cover is you'll see all the handwriting of the recipe cards. And that's like our grandmothers, our mothers, ours. And so it's about sharing. And so, why wouldn't we share great recipes with as many people as we can?
Yeah. I don't think we have anything else you want to add?
No.
No.
I don't think so. No.
Audience questions?
Any
Yeah,
questions?
totally. Any questions?
Sorry, I'm depriving you of your microphone.
That's all right. I was a little worried
Sure.
about public speaking. Jacked.
Yeah. So if anyone has a question, just raise your hand and I will come to you with the microphone. Give it a minute or two.
We've been asked favorite recipes. What's one of our favorite recipes?
We'll go for it.
So my favorite recipe is the chocolate cake with the brown sugar buttercream frosting.
Yeah, I know that's a good one. I like the magic cookie bar and the coconut cream pie.
Yes. And we were on the social a couple weeks ago,
Yes.
and they had made the magic cookie bar, and like all these
women took it
the
with
women
her
like took
off
the
the
entire
stage.
plate off the stage, and apparently they never eat anything that like they'll take like one bite of like whatever's being made at the time, and
That's a win.
That's a
that's-
win.
it's a
Yeah.
win. It's a
Yeah.
win. Anyways.
So what is the biggest difference from opening a store 12 years ago
Oh,
to opening a store right now?
that's a good question. So
Besides cost.
besides like triple the cost, probably, I would say
Yeah.
triple, if not more. Shocking. So we actually renovated one of our stores in Calgary in 2020. Right before COVID, we actually delayed the opening. An oven back then, I believe we paid $46,000. That same oven today is $90,000.
What kind of oven?
It was a Doyon like circling air oven, very like it's crazy. But I think in Kelowna, like in BC, I think things just move a little bit slower.
yeah.
So like it's a 5-month build, which we're super shocked. We actually are moving our Kensington location, which is crazy. We're building 2 stores in 1 year. But our contractor in Calgary is like, yeah, 2.5 months, we're gonna be done. We're like, all right. So yeah, just really costs and just kind of being out of the swing of it
Do you
even.
feel like the layout, like you stuck with it, or has there been any like, you know what, let's make it a little wider, let's, what
Yeah,
for
we're
comfort of the staff or?
We're so our new concept is called CC's Coffee, crafted by Crave. So we're gonna have coffee. So we partnered with Monogram Coffee. They are gonna sell us their beans. They're 3 guys that we've worked with in the past, and so it's a brand new concept. Yeah,
So that's quite
cupcakes and coffee. Another really good question that we get all the time too is why Saskatoon? Why did we open up in Saskatoon? And our very best childhood friend is sitting in the audience, and she said to us, "You gals got to come to Saskatoon." So you have Susan Eklund to thank.
Do we have other questions from the audience here?
Do you have another store in you?
Oh.
Sorry.
So we have-
Nobody said anything.
I think we'll do like a pause for a year.
Yeah.
Focus a little bit on getting them going, just because again, 2 new stores in 1 year, the cookbook. We have the bake at home line that like we're also focused on, so we're actually split in quite a few directions right now. But yeah, I think for sure we'll 2027. Right? We're 2025 right now.
Yes.
2020.
More regarding your cookbook, how was the process on like, what was the most difficult part you found in creating this cookbook?
So we had all the creative control of what recipes we wanted to do. We thought we'd be able to like bust it out in a few months, but the amount of editing that we had to do was insane, like how many reiterations we had to go through. And I think one of the things like Touchwood was great to work with, but just that little bit of lack of some creative control. Like one of the questions that we get is why cookies on the front cover? I'm like, that's a very good question. Thank you.
So you didn't do that.
No. So, I mean, we have to trust in them. They know what they're doing. They were very good to us. They supported us a lot because, of course, this was our first cookbook. We didn't know what we were doing. But yeah, it was just a really interesting process for us. There were things that we fought for, like we really wanted to have Crave in that logo across the front of the cover because that's what people know us for. So, you know, we'll say the cover was 25% our choice.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's about an 18-month process. So
Yeah.
we originally contacted them. We thought we'd have it like up and going for our 20th anniversary, which was like in September. We didn't realize how long it was. I think another big one is that originally our recipes all start small and then they all go big. And so they're like, oh yeah, we do these recipes all the time, but then taking them from big format to small format, again, it just took a long time and it was interesting. So they're doing a reprint of the book. And so they've said, oh, have you had any feedback that the recipes like don't work or there's any mistakes? And we're like, we haven't had any feedback like that because like I swear every recipe in there was made at like 10 times. So between us and people we know and like our stores were baking them for us, like we started divvying up recipes and stores bake them and then they would give us the feedback. And so it's a really sort of,
It's an intense process.
yeah, it was intense. And we had that best compliment too. One of the ladies when we were in Toronto, we had a food stylist bake everything there for us. And she's like, you know what? She's like, everything worked. She goes, it's really stressful as food stylists because lots of times you're baking out of these books and nothing works. So then they're trying to like get ready for an event and nothing that they've made works.
That's cool. You always wonder if these guys have actually cooked all the recipes or not.
Yeah.
Few
Yes.
times.
Okay.
Yeah, a few times.
This is a legit cookbook.
Yeah, it's so legit.
Yeah.
Cookbook. Yeah, it works.
Do we have another? Yeah, perfect.
Bit of an insider question, but so one thing. Excuse me, getting a call. One thing that I've always found fascinating was your marketing strategies because you've never really advertised in the traditional sense. Do you want to talk about that decision early on to rely on word of mouth and your reputation over spending a bunch of advertising money?
When we first opened the doors, it was just a matter of cost. Like we didn't have that kind of money. And when people came to us and say, yeah, you can take out a half-page ad in a magazine, we're like, okay, that's great. And you look at the cost, you're like, nope. And so Carolyne and I, in our first few years of business, would attend events and hand out our cupcakes and talk to people and tell them our story. And, you know, we always said that once people tasted our product, they'd be like, oh, okay, I get it. This tastes delicious. It's different. When we opened our bakery 20 years ago, from scratch baking in a commercial setting wasn't really a thing. When we
Or social
first,
media, right? Like,
and there was no
Instagram,
social media. So there was
right?
nothing that we could do besides physically being out there, talking about our product, being at events to just get the word out that we were there and you know, come see us. And I think we were always priding ourselves on how we were baking from scratch. And so when we went out and told that story, then I think we just kind of started to differentiate ourselves in the market. So.
And then it almost became a thing of pride. People would be like, oh, why are you advertising? We're like, well, we've never had to do it. But it is interesting. So we did for the first time in 20 years, we did hire a PR firm just with so many things happening. Our team, and again, we're like a small, mighty team of a lot of women. And it just got to be too much. We were just like, we couldn't handle everything that needed to be handled. And so for the first time, we did hire a PR firm. Which I think is good. I think it's great. Again, marketing is a different world nowadays too. So again, just kind of getting that expertise has been quite good.
So Sue Eklund introduced me to your cupcakes before you got to Saskatoon, so your word of mouth advertising worked for this person and the many other people I've talked about with your products. I was just curious what your top selling, I'm assuming it's your signature, Cravelicious is kind of the most popular top selling, but cupcake and cookie.
Ooh, that's a tough one. It kind of depends on the city. Yeah, so we have a chocolate chip cookie with like a full square brownie that is wrapped around that is delicious. My personal favorite, and I'm gonna call it classic, not boring, is the salted chocolate chunk. But the confetti cookie is super popular too. So that's like our sugar cookie with the confetti.
Lucia.
I know Lucia.
I was at that, yeah.
Confetti.
I know.
I know, it's the
Yeah.
confetti.
And the
yeah.
red velvet for the cupcake.
Yeah, red velvet, and the Cravelicious, which is chocolate with vanilla blue buttercream on top, are the two most popular. Though not my favorite, mine is the white coconut and Carolyn's is the
Just chocolate.
What color ice?
Just chocolate.
Just chocolate.
Yeah.
We did have a strawberry, we had the craving of the month.
Oh yeah, we both had a mini.
Yeah, it was delicious.
We have a really good
Yeah.
craving of the month, only until like the end of May here, but it's
Yeah,
like
good.
our take on a strawberry cheesecake. It's delicious.
Sort of jumping off of that, I have a question now. Have you noticed other differences between, like you're in 3 cities now, or going to be in 3 cities soon? Have you noticed significant differences between the cities, between what sells, what people are interested in, or is it generally the same?
I think the classics are the classics, like the Crave, the red velvet, the cookies, but yeah, there's definitely a different vibe to every city. Like sometimes minis are more popular on holidays versus regulars or the originals. So yeah, every city is a little bit different. We're really fortunate. We have a great team that we get to work with every day. And so our managers really, get to know the cities that they're in and the like the customers that frequent their locations. So they just bake what they know their customers want. So some things will be really popular in one city and another location will be like, I can't sell those. So, we just really take everybody's advice when it comes to kind of what we should have on the, front and center, and then maybe just in the back in case somebody asks.
Thank you. Does anyone else in the audience here have questions?
Are you gonna do a coffee cupcake? You're gonna do a coffee?
Oh,
cupcake?
yeah, maybe have a
Definitely
coffee.
will. We're doing an Earl Grey for September because we're gonna have tea, obviously. So we're gonna do that. Yeah. We've
Wonder
done
what I'm
coffee
getting
the
in
past.
September.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Earl Grey,
Yeah.
yeah, it is good. And we paired up with David's tea, which is super exciting.
Ah,
So we're gonna do like a collaboration with like their tea and our cupcakes. I think they're gonna carry our vanilla cake mix on their website, and so. Oh yeah, the strawberry matcha in July. Yeah, I think it's July.
So how did that come about, like the partnership? Sorry. How did the collaboration with David's Tea come about?
PR firm.
Oh.
So it was interesting, yeah, like, and again, even, well, I guess the publisher got us on the social. I mean, that's another like kind of question, even in regards to the cookbook, was like, do you do it on your own or do you get a publisher? Because of course you can publish your own book nowadays, right? Like you absolutely can do it. But they did all the, and that's again where you kind of give up that creative control, right? They do all the layout, but then like you're not paying for that. Like, I mean, the pictures alone that like we paid the photographer, it was, we paid her a lot of money. And so like if you had, we were paying somebody to do all the layout, I mean, we did not do it obviously to make money. That is not what it was about. It was truly about like getting them out there so everybody can make delicious cake really no matter where you are. Yeah.
I just need water.
Yeah.
Microphone won't help with that, sorry. Do we have any more questions in the audience here? Yeah.
Is there a product that you've tested for craving of the month or something that that you thought was gonna be awesome that was a spectacular failure?
Do you know what is not typically good is anything with booze in it. And we once had a Guinness, like we did a Guinness icing. People didn't know what Guinness was. We once did a stout. We've done a bourbon, we did a mimosa. So it was one of the questions with the PR firm was like, oh, we can see like champagne and cupcakes. We're like, no, we can't. So yeah, anything alcohol related has not been a huge thing. No, but we did but when we did the,
But when we did the margarita without it.
yeah, when we did the
Yeah.
margarita
did a
without
mocktail.
alcohol, we did like a mocktail
in
cupcake.
January.
It was like
popular.
super big hit.
Yeah.
So people don't like to mix alcohol and cupcakes. That's why for 10 days, during Stampede in Calgary, we are slow. People are drinking beer and they are not eating cupcakes.
Oh,
Yeah. Like we'll have like tourists come in, but like, again, people do not spend money like on cupcakes at events because they're just drinking beer or
Big
eating pancakes, like one of the two. So it's interesting.
Have you got- Have you guys ever done like a specific cupcake or cookie to that region, like a specific Saskatoon thing or specific for Kelowna or your?
Yeah, we do. Like we kind of like we do something for like exhibition days or something like that, right? So we hit like the key points. You know, if we do Pride, we make sure that like we have Pride cupcakes during the month where the events are. Typically it's in June. I think Saskatoon's June.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
so right now, like we're working on doing carousels for next week's, it's gonna be the Broadway.
Yeah.
So just apply,
Yeah.
we're gonna have them, yeah.
There was like Pride and Calgary.
Yeah, so
Edmonton
take
are
on, so
different
like, yeah.
times. Yeah.
So this will be a new product, they're just gonna be for Saskatoon for the moment.
Yeah. Yes.
Broadway Street Fire, get your cupcakes there.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there a way that, you've focused on one item, like, cake or bakery or things? Is it hard to try not to do too much? I have a hard time doing too much, so, yeah, but like you guys have had this great focus, on what you do really well, but there's a million things, coffee isn't a great addition, but there's a million things I'm sure that has been pitched to you over the years. How do you restrain from veering off your chosen cookie path?
So I think, yeah, it's a really good question. I think, for us, it's always been about like, it has to be able to be made from scratch. So, like one time they were trying to make a cupcake with like marshmallow fluff, like that you buy in a jar. And like, we're like, okay, well, go cost it out. It was like A, unaffordable, and B, it's not made from scratch. And so, but then, we tried to do ice cream sandwiches and I wanted to pair up with an ice cream company and everyone's like, no, we make everything from scratch. We got to make it from scratch. And, that just like messes with our flow. So, I think for us, it's always been, it's been 20 years. Don't kid yourself. Like there was once I was like, oh, let's cut out Rice Krispies into hearts and put them on sticks and
dip them.
Like it's something like I actually cannot be on Instagram because like it's all those like butterfly moments. Oh, they're doing this. Oh, we should be doing that. Oh, we should be doing this. Oh, we should be doing that. And so like I think the like just like focus of like
We had a bike.
yeah, we had a bike. Like we've had
Cupcakes
that.
downtown.
Yeah.
So we've done a few.
Yeah.
Somebody
Lots
stole
of
the
things.
bike, thank God.
Reflected the insurance.
Yeah, we're like, thank God. And it wasn't us.
Can you speak on the expansion? What drove you to decide to expand? Were there other places you looked at expanding into? What drove you to choose Kelowna over other places?
Good question.
Good question, Mitch. So we did an Instagram poll. Actually, we put it out there. Our team played with some, we have this great community that supports our business. And so they just put a poll out there and they said, where should the next Crave be? And, cities came flying at us and it was just Kelowna, Kelowna, Kelowna. And then a couple of years ago, I went out there and did a Christmas market with Caitlin, a gal that works for us. And we just wanted to try what is the vibe in Kelowna when not half of Vancouver is there and, half the people that are traveling across the prairies to be near, water for the summer. And it was super successful. And so then Carolyne and I went back this next year and it was even more successful. Like we recognized people who had bought 1 dozen minis the year before were now buying, I'll take 2 and I'll take a couple cookies. Do you have any loaves? And so, for the first time, we really like dug in and spent some time in the city and we found a space. We actually had found a couple spaces and we went back and forth, and then we found this one. And then because of the size of it, we're like, let's do some coffee. So that's how we kind of came to Kelowna.
And doing a coffee concept that we don't know anything about,
Yeah,
which, you know.
So we
But we're learning, yeah, we
really
hired
good.
somebody who's really good with the coffee, so,
She's
and we're
very
learning every day, and I think, you know, again, I think as entrepreneurs, I think it's really important to learn every day. And just kind of keep being, you know, education is like whatever mistake you made last week and you learn from it and carry on and keep moving forward.
Carolyne went to coffee school.
Yeah, I did some
She's not
coffee
gonna be
school.
doing coffee.
Yeah, and then the girl, the gal we hired, she's like, yeah, you know, like this coffee seems like really intense to dial. I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about. But, so it's good that I went for a few classes, but yeah, so it's good.
Any more questions here? So I do my awkward spinning in the middle of the aisle. We also could move into the draw.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, for sure.
Just a quick little thing about the draw. And so we have 2 of our cake mixes and a buttercream.
They get their name.
And did everybody get their name in the draw? Okay, so it's just right over there. And then McNally put in a $10 gift card, as well as we are going to send you an online gift card. So whoever wins, I will make sure your email address is on there, because that is how you're going to get. And that's not a trick. There's a lot of communication. I'm not trying to get your email. I am just trying to send you a gift card. So just make sure that you that your email is on the winning ticket. So
speaking of that, I think I'll probably shut off the live stream for the draw so that you don't have to have your name read out online. So thank you everyone so much for coming, and thank you everyone online for joining us. And I hope you get to bake some delicious cupcakes with this book.